It stretches across deserts, scales mountains, and snakes through valleys, a monumental scar etched onto the face of the earth. We call it the Great Wall of China. From space, it is a whisper of human presence. From the ground, it is an overwhelming testament to ambition, power, and persistence. But this wall is not just stone and earth. It is a dragon of legend, a guardian of empires, and a silent witness to millennia of human history. It was built not by one dynasty, but by many. It was not built for one purpose, but for several. And it was not built without a cost measured in treasure, in time, and in countless human lives. Welcome to Mythic Mundi. Today, we journey to one of the world's most iconic structures. We will explore the grand history of its construction, from warring states to mighty emperors. But more importantly, we will uncover the legend hidden within its foundations. A story of love, loss, and a single woman whose sorrow was said to be powerful enough to bring the very wall tumbling down. This is the story of the Great Wall and the heart-wrenching legend of Meng Jiangnu.
The Great Wall as we imagine it, a single continuous line, is a romantic simplification. The reality is a complex system of walls, watchtowers, fortresses, and other defenses built, rebuilt, and expanded over more than 2,000 years. Its origins began long before China was a unified empire. During the Warring States period, rival states built earthen ramparts to defend their borders from each other and from nomadic tribes to the north. These were the first tentative lines drawn upon the landscape. But the Great Wall truly began with one of the most formidable figures in history, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. In 221 BC, he unified China, forging a single powerful empire. To protect his new domain from the Xiongnu nomads, the barbarians of the north, he ordered a monumental project to connect and reinforce the northern walls. This was not a construction project, it was a mobilization of a nation. Historical accounts, though difficult to verify, speak of hundreds of thousands of people, soldiers, peasants, and convicted laborers sent to the unforgiving northern frontier. The conditions were beyond harsh. The terrain was treacherous, the weather extreme, and the task itself was grueling. The laborers faced relentless challenges, from the biting winds of the steppe to the sheer logistical nightmare of moving massive stones across mountains. It is said that the wall is the longest cemetery on earth, a somber nickname earned from the sheer number of workers who perished during its construction. Their final resting place became the wall itself, their bodies absorbed into the earth and foundations. This immense human toll, this river of sacrifice, became the dark soil from which the wall's most enduring legends would grow. After the fall of the Qin dynasty, the wall was not abandoned. The succeeding Han dynasty expanded it and maintained it, pushing its boundaries deep into the western regions to protect the burgeoning Silk Road. Later dynasties, like the Sui and Ang, also contributed sections. However, the magnificent stone structure that we recognize today, the one that snakes across the ridges near Beijing, is largely the work of the Ming Dynasty from the 14th to the 17th century. Facing a renewed threat from the Mongols, the Ming emperors embarked on a massive, centuries-long building program. They fortified the wall with brick and stone, building intricate watchtowers, barracks, and signal stations using smoke and fire. It was a symbol of strength, a declaration of power, and a physical line dividing the civilized world from the wild lands beyond. But for the people who built it, and the families who waited for them, It was something else entirely. It was a divider of families, a consumer of lives, and a place of profound sorrow.
History gives us the scale. It tells of emperors, armies, and dynasties. It measures the wall in thousands of miles. But folklore gives us the heart. It tells of the individual, the family, and the human spirit. It measures the wall in tears. Of all the tales embedded in the Great Wall, none is more famous, more moving, or more central to its cultural identity than the legend of Meng Jiangnu. The story begins not with an emperor, but with a humble girl. In a small village far from the seat of power lived Meng Jiangnu and her husband, Feng Qiliang. They were newly married, their life simple and filled with joy. Their future seemed bright until the shadow of the empire fell upon their home. One day, soldiers arrived. The first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, had decreed that the wall must be built, and men were being conscripted from every corner of the land. Fan Qiliang was taken from his home, torn from his wife, and sent north to the distant, grueling construction of the Great Wall. Months turned into a year. Meng Jiangnu heard no word from her husband. As the bitter winds of winter began to blow, her heart ached with worry. She thought of him facing the cold with only thin clothes. Driven by a devotion that knew no fear, she packed warm garments, food, and medicine, and then she set out alone on an impossible journey, trekking hundreds of miles across mountains, rivers, and barren lands, driven by the single, desperate hope of seeing her husband again. She walked for weeks, then months, facing hardships we can only imagine. Finally, exhausted but hopeful, she arrived at the section of the Great Wall where her husband was supposed to be. She asked the guards, the foremen, and the other laborers, "Have you seen Feng Tiangliang?" At first, no one would answer. They turned their faces away, their eyes filled with pity. At last, an old foreman took her aside. He told her the devastating truth. The work had been too hard, the conditions too cruel. Her husband, Feng Tiangliang, had perished from exhaustion months ago. And his body? Like so many others, he had been laid to rest within the foundations of the wall itself. The news struck Meng Jiangnu with a force greater than any physical blow. The hope that had carried her hundreds of miles instantly vanished, replaced by an abyss of grief. She sank to her knees at the foot of the massive, indifferent stone structure. She began to weep. This was not a quiet sorrow. It was a profound wail of loss, a cry that carried all the love for her lost husband, all the pain of her useless journey, and all the injustice of his fate. She cried for 3 days and 3 nights. Her sorrow was so deep, so pure, and so powerful that it seemed to call out to the heavens. And then, the legend says, the heavens answered. A sound like thunder cracked the sky. The very earth began to tremble. Before the eyes of the stunned soldiers and laborers, the section of the Great Wall where she wept, a stretch said to be 400 li, or over 20 kilometers long, crumbled and collapsed, revealing the earth and bones within. The wall, a symbol of the emperor's unbending will, had been broken by the grief of a single common woman. In the rubble, Ming Jiangnu searched, and there, among the fallen, she found the remains of her beloved husband. She was able to give him the proper burial rites he deserved. The ending of her story varies. Some versions say the furious emperor Qin Shi Huang demanded to see the woman who had defied his creation. But when he saw her, he was so struck by her beauty that he offered to make her an empress. Meng Jiangnu agreed, but only on 3 conditions: that her husband be given a state funeral, that the emperor himself attend, and that a grand terrace be built for her to make a final sacrifice. The emperor, blinded by her beauty, agreed to all. After the funeral, Meng Jiangnu climbed the high terrace, publicly denounced the emperor for his cruelty, and then, her duty to her husband fulfilled, she threw herself into the nearby Bohai Sea. The legend of Meng Jiangnu is, of course, a myth. The wall did not literally collapse from her tears. But the story's power is not in its historical accuracy. Its power lies in its profound, symbolic truth. Why has this story been told and retold for over 2,000 years, inspiring countless poems, operas, and folk songs? Because the legend of Meng Jiangnu is a powerful act of cultural memory. It is a story that gave a voice to the voiceless. While the official histories recorded the achievements of emperors, this legend preserved the suffering of the common people. It was a quiet rebellion, a story that dared to say that the love of one person was more powerful than the will of an emperor, and that human grief could shatter stone. Meng Jiangnu became a symbol. She represents the resilience of the human heart in the face of state-sponsored cruelty. She represents unwavering loyalty and love. Her story transforms the Great Wall from a mere military achievement into a complex human monument, one built not only of stone, but of sacrifice. Today, millions of people walk the Great Wall. They marvel at its scale, its engineering genius, and the breathtaking landscapes it crosses. It is a symbol of China's endurance, its history, and its ingenuity. But as we walk those restored battlements, it is worth remembering the other side of its legacy. The wall was a divider, a keep-out sign on a continental scale, and it was built on a foundation of profound human cost. The Great Wall of China stands as 2 things at once. It is a masterpiece of human ambition and a memorial to the sacrifices that ambition demanded. It is a dragon of stone, but its soul is filled with a river of tears. And in the wind that whips across its ancient towers, you can almost hear the echoes of a story, the story of Meng Jiangnu, whose love and sorrow have echoed through the centuries, ensuring that the human cost of this magnificent structure is never, ever forgotten. The world is full of such stories, where myth and history are woven together. What legend, monument, or myth would you like us to uncover next? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into our shared past, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Mythic Mundi, and press the comment button to join the conversation. Your support helps us continue to explore the legends that shaped our world. Thank you for watching.